Welcome to Moon Harbor Heroes. Today's issue is Faces Issue 8, Comes Awkward Moments. On the cover, Carl and Faye lie in the wreckage of a coffee table, tangled up in each other. Faye is blushing a deep pink. Violet, mouthful of cookies, is sitting on a couch behind them, staring. Felix stands, arms crossed, behind the couch. Bert, holding a tray of tea, is gawking at the two of them on the floor. We turn the page and our story begins.
And we're going to cut to a panel of a front door and Ryder knocking on it. And then after a couple panels of just that door, Bert opening the door. What do we see through the door, Carl? Like, set the panel behind Bert and his face.
We're in the suburbs. It's a house, but it's a pretty small house in the suburbs. The front yard is totally unkempt. And then as the door opens, there's a lot of stuff around. So it's like there's not a lot of light entering the house, and there's just junk everywhere. It looks like Radio Shack exploded into a small suburban house.
Okay, excellent.
And in front of you is this small old guy who looks at you with a face like, "Who are you?"
So what are Felix and Estelle dressed like?
Felix is actually still in his gym clothes. So he's wearing like sweatpants and a white t-shirt. And he's actually still got his he never actually took the grips off his punching bag grips, even though his the gauntlet was appearing when he was punching. He's actually still wearing the grips over his hands. So he looks like he honestly probably looks like some sort of enforcer about to beat the hell out of this guy.
So we get the panel with Bert opening the door, just staring, and then the panel of the two of you standing in the doorway, and then a panel of Bert's face again just says, "Who are you?"
I'm Felix Kraus. You may know me better as Ryder Typhon. We're wondering if Carl came by here.
So Bert kind of looks at you, completely confused for a moment, and then kind of latches onto a few words and goes, "Oh, Carl's friend. I haven't seen him since earlier in the day."
You wouldn't have a way to track him, would you? We are looking for him. We think he may have went off with another one of our friends, and he has an artifact on him that, last time we saw it in action, it destroyed the Saber building.
Bert gets a very concerned look on his face, steps back and holds the door open for both of you. And we're gonna set another panel in where does Bert take guests? Where would be go ahead and describe that room.
Okay, so you can see there's a very old couch. I think the lint is keeping it together, not really the frame anymore. There's an old cathode ray TV with the antennas, and there's a shaggy carpet with an end table, and on top of the end table is a tray with biscuits, but they're super stale.
Okay.
So the first thing Violet does is she walks in, she plops down on the couch, and she helps herself to some biscuits and gets some of that stuck on her face along with the ice cream.
These biscuits are a year old or something.
That's cool.
Violet doesn't know what biscuits are actually supposed to taste like. Space
Or
biscuits
what
are
they're
always
supposed
stale.
to be.
So we're gonna join that panel as everyone's walking into the room, obviously mid-conversation, with Bert saying, "So you're telling me Carl's a superhero?" And with that, on that, Violet flopping on the couch, grabbing a cookie, Bert saying that we're gonna cut back to Faye and Carl. Faye and Carl. It's been so let's say about 5 minutes. What does the scene look like when we join back?
I would say that basically about everything that can be destroyed is destroyed at this point. It's getting seriously out of hand.
Look, we got just the one lone guard tower rising up and then off to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the side park. We're not in the primary power plant area. So we've destroyed everything to the side of it, but we haven't destroyed where there could be any sort of chemical stuff. This is the auxiliary side of things.
Cool. And where are you standing, sitting, whatever in the first panel?
I think that we're standing on top of the rubble, and in my mind, Carl's floating down towards me, coming to rejoin. Would that work for you, Carl?
Sure.
And as Carl lands, I'm gonna like throw my arms around him, give him like this giant hug. And for like half a second, it looked like Faye's about to kiss Carl. It's like almost there, and then Faye quickly pulls away and like blushes bright red and is like, that was really cool.
It was a lot of fun. Should we do more? I think there's places around here where we can do more.
How did Carl react to the hug?
So at this point, Carl is for the first time in over a day, like 2 days. This is the first time that Carl is actually in his Carl shape fully. Like he looks to be human-ish, and he would accept the hug, but he's completely oblivious to it. He's just super excited, like a kid with too much sugar at this point.
Okay, I think we're probably triggering Carl's share a triumphant celebration move here.
Okay, yeah, sure. When I share a triumphant celebration with someone, I ask them what makes them proud or happy about the actions they took, and write a lesson based on it, either filling an empty slot or replacing an existing lesson.
You had so much power, but you had so much control over it. I really, really respect that. I wish I had that kind of control over my powers. I don't know what that amulet does to you. I don't know how it makes you feel, but you are so strong.
I've been practicing like a lot. It's fun.
You're amazing.
And now Carl has to write a new lesson based on what you told him.
Was that enough for me to be revealing a vulnerability or weakness? In the like, I wish that I had that control over my powers.
Okay. In the panels this is taking up, we are, as the viewer or readers, definitely seeing these drones getting closer and closer. The readers can see that this is the very, very end of this conversation, probably forcefully. While Carl's working on his lesson, go ahead and trigger that move.
Great. So if I share vulnerability or weakness with someone, I give them influence over me, which means Carl gets to shift my labels again. And I ask if they think there's hope for me.
Okay, so I'm gonna change always protect your friends to always have fun with your friends.
Okay, excellent.
Which is a really dangerous lesson to take, but okay.
Oh yeah, it is.
So I have to say what again, Smeltdown?
If you think there's hope for me, also you get to shift my labels.
So superior -1 and mundane +1. Because I see you more like a person now.
Yeah, I like that. And is there
Awesome,
hope for
thank you.
her?
Is that, do I have to answer in character in some fashion, or?
You do not have to answer in character.
I think there's
But
hope.
does Carl think that?
Carl thinks there's hope.
Cool. I get a mark potential. And when I see the hope in Carl's eyes, I am actually going to kiss Carl.
Carl's gonna kiss back.
Oh, awesome. So we get this panel there, and the kiss takes up, like, let's say 3 panels. There's the the panel where Faye kisses Carl, the panel where Carl kisses back, and then a panel of them kissing, and the swarm of drones forming into a large circle in the background. And then it starts spinning, and you two hear a really intense humming. And I think we get a panel where, like, you two are still in the same, like, kiss pose, but turned and looking at this spinning thing and this glowing portal energy starting to build up in the middle.
Carl, I think we should get out of here.
Yeah, sure.
Do you trust me?
Sure.
Where do you think we should go? Should we go to my place? Should we go to your place? Where should we be?
You do not have enough time for that.
Okay.
I don't give much time for a response before something comes out of that.
Carl just blurts, "Let's go to birds now," and he tries to fly.
I'm gonna portal.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my hand, which is going to go full demon, and I'm gonna slash through the air. As I slash, the air is gonna turn into that like shattered stained glass look, and I'm gonna pull Carl and I through it, and we're gonna disappear. And because it's kind of hasty, I'm gonna kind of come crashing into Bert's house and like crash onto the table in the living room. When we land, I want to like land so I'm laying on top of Carl on top of the now broken living room table.
Excellent. So we're going to have that happen in a moment. We're going to get a couple establishing panels before you all arrive. Cutting back to Bert's living room. Where is everyone sitting while this conversation's happening? Or when the first panel of this?
Ryder's not sitting. Ryder's standing just a little bit inside the room.
Carl, where would Bert be sitting?
Bert would be sitting the left side of the couch.
Okay, cool. And
My
Estelle?
left or your left? Oh, I'm sitting on the other side of the couch, and I've got the bowl of biscuits in my lap because I'm now munching on them like they're chips.
Okay, awesome. And I assume there's like a telenovela on, like a bit too loud in the background, making conversation kind of annoying.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's in Spanish.
Excellent. And if anyone wants to have, we'll have a few panels here. If anyone wants to say anything, do anything before they're going to crash through.
I'm going to have a panel where I look at Bert and say, this is remarkably less high-tech than I thought it would be.
So let's have like a small table where like Bert's computer is set. What is Bert's like everyday computer when he uses one, Carl?
It's like an old Dell box type of deal. Let's say early 90s tech. It's clearly visually heavily kitted out, and it looks like it runs the latest software. Like it's got Windows 10 or whatever the in-universe thing is. But it looks like an old computer, but it clearly has all of the newest software and stuff like that.
So maybe we get like a panel of like Felix on the login for Saber with that code. Bert has kind of been a bust. He doesn't have any quick way to track Carl. We get like Felix just about to type the login, and then the portal opens and they slam through onto the coffee table.
I found him.
Oh. Okay, well that's... Huh.
Bert kind of looks around confused, looks down and goes, "Welcome home, Carl. I think we should have a talk."
Bert, I want you to meet my friend. This is my friend. This is Faye. Say hi to Bert, Faye.
My
Say
hair is
hi.
kind of messed up from the fall. I'm like awkwardly wave because it clearly looks like something else was just happening.
At this point, Carl starts buzzing around the room.
Hey guys, what's up?
Where were you guys? I stand up from the table and like literally just zip around the table.
You were going to call us. You didn't call us.
I did call. No one answered.
My phone must have been on silent. There were these drones, and we had to get away, so we came here.
Drones? Like
Like
Carl? Were the same drones that we fought in the park?
We fought drones in the park? What?
Well, me and Carl did. You were busy.
I didn't see any drones. I was just doing like "Pachua, pow." And then we were here.
Huh.
Also, I think I just made out with Faye.
I just blush bright red, and I'm like, we had to blow off some steam, and then there were drones, and then we kissed, and then we're here. Anyway, what are you all doing here?
Bert at this whole time has been staring around the room, trying to get a grasp on what's going on, and he looks at Carl, latches onto the only thing he can think of, and says, "So you've been out there playing hero."
Carl suddenly realizes that, he just realized that Felix and Estella are there, and that's super awkward. And then, as Bert says that, he realizes that Bert knows about the powers and stuff, and he goes, "We've just been having fun, Bert. These are my friends. I want you to meet Faye and Felix and Estelle. Sorry, Alana and Felix and Estelle. I keep forgetting your real name. This is Alana, Felix,
he looks
and
around
Estelle.
at each of you and says, it's good to meet you all. Carl talks a lot about you." And then he kind of looks around the room. He seems very much out of his depth and goes, I'm gonna get you all some tea. Kind of scuttles out of the room. What are y'all doing?
I'm gonna look at Alana and go, Alana, does he still have the amulet with him?
Yes, he has the amulet with him.
Okay, well then, 2 birds, 1 stone. I was going to ask Bert if he could look at the amulet and help us find out what it actually is.
Okay.
I don't think that's a terrible idea, Carl. I mean, he could probably help you figure out how to unleash your powers in a safer way. You said it was dangerous, but I mean, I've seen what you can do, and Bert could probably help with that.
But the amulet is so fun.
In your mind, Carl, you start hearing a whispering saying, "You can't let them take me. This power belongs to you and you alone."
My internal voice to the amulet just goes, "Yeah, I know."
Do we see any visible change when you're talking to the amulet? Like, can we tell that you're having that inner conversation?
Not really, unless you're being very, very observant.
I mean, we just
Links
made
there.
out.
I'd say somebody who's very observant would be able to do it, and I'll say that maybe because we just shared the kiss and because I'm being very drunk on whatever it is I'm drunk on, you'd be able to notice.
I'm gonna notice the change then, and I'm gonna grab Carl's hand and look at you in the eyes and be like, "Hey, do you want to take a second? You look like there's something on your mind." And I'm clearly trying to communicate with you about the whole, we both have monsters talking to us in our head. Do you want to talk about that thing?
Carl goes,
I think you should also be piercing the mask.
I should be?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool, I can do that.
Okay, Faye, that's a 4. So, Carl, you can pierce the mask as if you rolled a 10+.
How could I get your character to trust me?
I already trust you.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, I'm good on questions right now, I think.
Okay.
So Carl scrunches up into a ball and loses a lot of his shape and goes, "We're fine."
I'm gonna kind of flinch. Like, that wasn't the answer I was hoping for from the man that I just made out with. And so I'm gonna like go back and rejoin Felix and like just as discreetly as I can shoot a text to Felix and be like, something just changed, but I don't know what. I see what you meant about the power of the amulet.
I'm going to flip the phone up, read the text real quick, flip it down, and just kind of nod.
I'm going to look at Carl and be like, "Hey, Carl, do you want a glass of ice water?"
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to telekinetically from the other room bring in some ice water.
We get a photo of this glass of water floating towards Carl, and then Bert following it behind with a tray with several glasses of tea. Not that it's not nice to meet you all, but there's a reason you're here.
Yeah, we are here for a reason. Carl, would you let Bert see the amulet, please?
And Bert turns to look at Carl.
Carl just dangles the amulet for a second and then takes it back again.
That's not what I meant, Carl. Bert, we would like you to take a look at this amulet, and...
We're going to have Felix's uncle have a look at it. We don't need to show Bert. You're good, right, Bert?
Bert is kind of warily looking at that amulet and goes, "Where did you get that, Carl?"
I didn't tell you, but I'm kind of a hero, and there was this fire guy, and he blew up a building, and I took down the fire guy and took his amulet, and I gave the guy to Saber.
I want there to be a panel, like a small panel with Felix holding his phone to his side and texting Leo to tell him, just quickly telling him we found them. We're all at Bert's. Meet us here.
Okay.
So I've got the amulet now, but it's really fun. So I don't know.
Bert kind of takes a step forward towards you and says, "Your friends have told me you've been acting strangely since you got it."
I've been acting like a hero, like they wanted me to. When I don't act like a hero, everybody's mad at me. When I act like a hero, everybody's mad at me. I don't get it.
We're not mad at you, Carl. We're just concerned. In that same panel, when I say that, you see, like, that's an after image of Felix saying that, because at that same point in time, he's moved towards the door, just in case something was to happen and Carl was to decide to try to burst out.
Felix, I have a weird question, but have you gotten prettier?
I'm gonna go up to Carl and be like, "I don't know what's happening with them, but I'm not mad at you. I think you're incredible. I want to see if Bert or Felix's uncle, if anyone, can help control that better, so you can keep staying as strong as I know you can be without."
You're pretty too.
You're pretty too, Carl. And I'm gonna take his hand, and then I'm gonna be like, "Hey, but do you let Bert see the amulet for a minute?"
Are you provoking or just...
I'm provoking. That's a hit. That's a 7.
Which of the options are you picking?
We'll go carrot.
I don't think Bert cares, but okay. Here, Bert. And I hand him the amulet.
The voice is screaming as you're handing it over.
I scrunch up into a ball and the amulet drops on the floor.
The moment it's out of your possession, the voice is just cut off. Bert reaches down and picks it up. The moment he touches it, he just goes rigid still.
I'm grabbing the amulet back immediately.
Carl, go ahead and roll to unleash your powers.
9.
I'm gonna use that team we just got to make that be a 10.
So you snatch it. Bert shakes his head and like kind of seems to snap back into the moment. Immediately, Carl, like on the page, as in the panel that has you grabbing and reabsorbing the amulet, we get all the like whisper text that we've been getting to signify the amulet talking to you. And we see, I told you not to give it to anyone else. If you give it to him again, I'll kill him. And Bert just shudders and says, where am I? What happened?
At this point, Carl like drops into a million ants, basically. So there's a small ball which is holding onto the amulet, but like there's insects scurrying in every direction, trying to get out of the room.
As we get that panel, Felix, your phone goes off, and you can see it's Leo's name on the screen of it.
I'm going to flip it up and say, "Emergency, Uncle, what's going on?"
You hear your uncle's voice. He sounds strained, and he says, Ryder Typhon, we have a problem. And we're going to cut to everyone else real quick. What is everyone doing? Faye and Estelle with Carl scattering.
I'm going to telekinetically try to stop Carl from going anywhere. Like, I'm going to try to, like, pull the ants back into a group, kind of, like, wall the doors off and pull him back. As I'm saying, Carl, what happened? Where are you going?
All right, Faye, that sounds like you're unleashing your powers. Go ahead and roll plus freak. 7. So on a 7 to 9, mark a condition, or I'll tell you how it's unstable or temporary.
I'm going to mark insecure. I just, made out with this person. The conglomerate of peoples, and now they're running away.
Okay, so you have used your telekinesis, and you're like actively holding Carl in a single like orb in the middle of the room. So, Felix, have you ever heard the Dark Rider's voice?
Last time I heard his voice was when he left Mom.
You hear a familiar voice. Hello, Ryder Typhon. You have something that belongs to me.
Dad?
And we're going to cut to Carl. Carl, what are you doing?
So, Faye has got me in telekinetic ball. Is that correct?
Yep.
So that should be fine. So I'll have some of the ants in the room crawl up Faye, and suddenly Faye feels like she's losing part of who she is, and she can hear like there's some sort of clarity going on where she can feel Carl. So
a proposal for how those panels look on the page. We get this panel with like the distortion look of Faye's telekinesis, and then like a like stream of ants like crawling up it and then reaching Faye.
So Faye becomes part of the swarm for just a second, and it's a very alienating feeling. And Carl telekinetically says to her, "We have to get everybody out."
Okay. I don't know how I'm communicating in the swarm, but I'm doing it, and I'm really, really surprised by that. But we get my like thought bubble conversation where I'm like, tell me what to do.
We have to get Felix out, and we have to protect Bert.
Got it. I'm going to outwardly say to Felix, I think we need to get out of here, and I think we need to take Bert with us.
At that call to Felix, we're going to cut back to Felix on the phone. Felix, through the phone, you hear, you have something I want, and I have something you want. And then the next panel is a pitch black room, except for like one single hanging light shining down on Leo, tied up to a chair with like a bloodied face. And standing behind him is just the silhouette of the Dark Rider holding the phone to his ear. And he just says, give me the suit by the end of the week, or you'll never see him again.
I'm going to assume the phone goes click after that.
Oh, you have a chance to respond here.
What have you done with Leo?
You know what you have to do. And now we have a click.
I flip the phone down and like grip it really hard. And as I do, like the armor just like it begins to shimmer into like literally it shimmers into form around me.
I don't think we need to go that extreme. We just need to leave. I don't think we need to kill Carl. Felix, what's going on?
Felix looks up, kind of because he's kind of like he's like not even in the same situation, and he says, "I have to go," and then just literally just kind of not even thinking goes to push on the door, not realizing that it could be a swinging inward door, and like just kind of knocks it off its hinges and just walks out the door.
First, Felix, is it possible for anyone to catch up to you? Because you are easily fast enough to make it impossible.
No, there's no way. I literally just kind of almost poof out of existence at that moment in time.
So super speed, like by the time anyone has a moment to react, we're getting like the sound effects of the motorcycle speeding off down the street.
Yes.
I'm dropping Carl and immediately taking off after Felix, flying as fast as I can.
Carl yells, "Stay here."
I'll be right back. I need to make sure he's okay.
Carl, are you provoking?
I am. An 8.
All right.
We have no team left at this point, right?
Nope.
No. Carrot or the stick?
Carrot.
I'm taking off after Felix.
How are you doing, so? Go ahead and tell me what that panel looks like.
So my telekinetic rippling kind of shatters, and we see the ants kind of fall, though it's Carl, so they're probably still floating anyway. And I fly through a window, and I'm gonna just take off down the street following the smoke of the motorcycle.
A million ants suddenly close the curtains and the door. Well, put it back on its hinges, I guess. There's like ants all over the place suddenly, and the door goes back into its place, the curtains shut, everything happens at once, and the whole house closes down.
Moon Harbor Heroes is produced by Anthony Sheets and TP Huth, and edited by Anthony Sheets. Anthony can be found on Twitter at IcyNewYear, or at IcyNewYear.com. T is the host of Incubator on Air, a new play podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play.
They can be found at thuth Playwright on Twitter, or at tphuth94 on Instagram.
Faces is GM by me, Anthony Sheets. Carl is played by Simon Meskins. You can find him on Twitter as Jill Bareka. Faye is played by TP Huth. Ryder Typhon is played by Kaido Kane. Kaido is a Twitch personality and loves their 3 mischievous cats. You can find them at the Versian on Twitter, and as Kaido Kane on twitch.tv. Violet Starling is played by Zweifang. Our logo was designed by Beautiful Beasties. She can be found on Instagram at beastly.doodles or at patreon.com/beautifulbeasties. The music in this issue is Black Vortex by Kevin MacLeod. A link to his website and the license will be in the show notes. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell a friend. Word of mouth and 5-star reviews are really the best way for us to keep bringing these stories to more people. And thanks for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.